Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, allow me to express on behalf of the Palestinian people and their leadership, including President Mahmoud Abbas, our gratitude to the government and people of Ecuador for hosting this very important meeting in Quito. In this connection, we are extremely delighted about the very productive meeting that we had yesterday as a committee delegation with the foreign minister and his team in the foreign ministry yesterday. And I'm also very delighted that His Excellency, the Vice Minister, Leonardo Reziaga, is with us today, and we thank him for his strong statement of solidarity with the Palestinian people. And also I am delighted that my friend Oscar Fernandez Toranco is with us, representing His Excellency, the Secretary General of the United Nations. I would also like to extend on behalf of the State of Palestine our gratitude to the Committee on the Exercise of the Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian People, my colleague, the Chairman of the Committee, Ambassador Diallo, and my colleagues, the other ambassadors who are comprising the delegation of the committee in this meeting, the Ambassador of Afghanistan and the Ambassador of Malta, the rapporteur of the committee, and other friends who were supposed to be with us, the Ambassador of Nicaragua and the Ambassador of Cuba and the Ambassador of Ecuador, but for pressing reasons they were unable to be with us and they had to stay in New York. And also I would like to add our expression of gratitude to the Division of Palestinian Rights in the United Nations, because they are the people who are responsible for organizing this meeting. What you see and what you don't see is done by a remarkable team headed by Wolfgang Gregor, who is sitting on the other side of the podium, in which they make these meetings function in the highest form of professionalism, and we thank them very much for all the effort and the sacrifices that they do in executing their mandate as expressed through resolutions by the General Assembly. We meet here today at a very critical moment in the history of the struggle of the Palestinian people and in the history of the political process between us and the Israeli side, Israel, the occupying power. Of course, this current political process was a process in which many of you were involved in it. Many Arabs, many from the non-aligned movement, many from the Islamic cooperation countries, many from Latin America, many from the Quartet, Russian, Chinese, name it, everybody is involved in in this political process, including the United States of America. Because for the last few months, unfortunately, negotiations between us and the Israelis has not been taking place because of the intransigence of Israel, the occupying power, and what has been happening for the last few months is a shuttling diplomacy undertaken by the United States between us and the Israelis. And the reason why we're at that stage, because while we were negotiating in good faith as Palestinians, the Israeli side, the occupying power, was acting in such a way that is creating obstacles and creating contradictions with the objectives of peace. I'll give examples. We've demonstrated goodwill and restraint in not pursuing our legal right to join so many agencies and to become party to so many conventions and treaties. We made an understanding and commitment through Secretary of State Kerry not to do that for 9 months while we're negotiating with the Israelis, in exchange of releasing 102 political prisoners who have been serving for a long time prior to Oslo And we had an agreement with prior Israeli government dating back to Taba discussions to release all of them as a result of the negotiations that were underway since the signing of the Oslo agreement. So that is the agreement. You release the 102 in 4 installments, 26 of them each period of time, and the last 26 of them are supposed to be released in few days, and that is the first benchmark that we will be going through in few days. So that was the exchange. From our side, we honored and respected our commitment. We did not approach any new UN agency or signed any agreement, any convention or instrument. Although it is our legal right as Palestinians, after what we've done in November 29, 2012, through the help of all of you, in which the State of Palestine was recognized by the UN, and our legal status was changed as a state, whether it is an observer state or a full member state, it doesn't matter, it is a state, and therefore it allows us to join all of the agencies, it allows us to sign all of the treaties and agreements and instruments that we wish to do so if we select to do so as Palestinians. What have the Israeli side, what have they done while we were negotiating? The one who continues to act illegally on the settlement front, and not only to do these illegal activities on daily basis, but during the year where we were negotiating, the year 2013, according to Israeli statistics, the level of settlement activities reached an unprecedented level. According to Israeli statistics, the level of settlements reached in the year 2013 was 123% higher than the year of 2012. Then I ask you, the one who behaves in this manner illegally and the one who behaves legally us is the one who is behaving illegally and negotiating with us is interested in separation, in withdrawal, and in allowing the two-state solution to become a reality? What should we believe? The few words that they say about peace or the action, the illegal action that they conduct every day. So what instead of preparing the Israeli society to the decision of withdrawing from these areas, instead of preparing them for the tough decisions of separation and ending the occupation and ending this colonization process, their action is solidifying the colonization process, bringing more settlers, expanding more settlements. Then this action is an action of someone who is negotiating with us that is ready to the withdrawal and the separation. Then you go to Jerusalem. And let me say also about settlements. We are at the point that if all of us, collectively including the UN, say settlements that are illegal, and in fact are illegal, and we do not add consequences to this behavior, put yourself in the place of Israel, the occupying power. What is the incentive for them to stop this illegal activity? If nothing is going to happen to them, why should they do it? Then this would pose the question. Are we to continue being complacent and repeat this position without teeth, or are we going to enter a new stage that, thanks to the European, through the adoption of the guidelines and some steps in South Africa of saying to Israel, if you continue with this illegal behavior of settlement activities, there is going to be consequences. And if we do not go through this path, if they don't change their conduct, and if they don't negotiate in good faith to end settlement activities and to pave the way for the withdrawal, then shouldn't be the responsibility of all of us to cross that bridge and to engage in legal activities and there are many of them, and practical steps in order to force the occupying power to comply with its obligation under international law and under agreements between us and them. Another example, instead of preparing Israel for the separation and withdrawal from East Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Palestine, those who conduct themselves of provoking our people and resorting to incitement by bringing settlers and extremists to the holy sites in Jerusalem, especially in Al-Haram al-Sharif and Al-Aqsa Mosque, including officials, including the deputy speaker of the Knesset, climbing on top of Al-Haram al-Sharif and raising the flag of Israel and bringing settlers with them, and are not allowing Muslim worshippers to go and practice their worships, and trying to have presence of the settlers in the holy sites of Al-Haram al-Sharif and Al-Aqsa Mosque, and also to have the audacity to have a debate in the Knesset of trying to have a piece of legislation to extend sovereignty of the occupying power over these holy sites, and in violations of understandings and agreements between us and the Israelis, and between the Israelis and the Jordanian authorities who have custodianship over the holy sites in Jerusalem, Christians and Muslims, through Al-Waqf? Is this the conduct of one that wants to be ready for allowing Jerusalem to be the capitals of two states, East Jerusalem to be the capital of the Palestinian state? So these are some examples of the difficulties that we are facing and the monumental tasks of the efforts of the United States of America under the leadership of President Barack Obama and Secretary of State Kerry. Now also, to add another example, we are against killing civilians from anyone by anyone, and not to use discriminatory fighting against anyone. But we know that extrajudicial execution is illegal. Israel has no authority to come at will and say that you are potentially going to do something and therefore I'm going to kill you. There is no such thing acceptable or allowed under international law. The way they conduct themselves vis-a-vis Gaza or vis-a-vis the refugee camp in Jenin, these are illegal things under international law, and they should be held accountable for doing so. Now, as I said, that we are at a critical juncture in the political process. The first benchmark is in few days. The next benchmark is going to be the end of April. Are we going to reach an understanding or agreement, which we were led to believe that it will be the case when we were asked to come back to negotiation 8 months ago, that this negotiation on the 6 final status issues, borders, security, Jerusalem, refugees, waters, and settlements, and to reach a peace treaty at the end of that period of time, are we going to accomplish that objective? We sincerely hope that that would be the case, although we know now that the Secretary of State is changing the direction of his efforts from reaching a peace treaty between us and the Israelis on these issues into a framework in order to allow for the extension of negotiations for another 9 months until the end of the year. I don't know what will happen from now until the end of April, but if we do not reach some acceptable understanding, and in this connection I just want to tell you that each leadership has constituencies and they have to listen to their own people and to their own political manifestations. In our case, almost all political groups within the PLO and the mood of our people in the streets, they don't believe that with such conduct by Israel, that Israel is sincere in negotiating with us the objective of ending the occupation, allowing for the independence of the state of Palestine so that we can accomplish the objective of a two-state solution. And then therefore they're advising President Abbas not to continue with this theater of the absurd. But nevertheless, because our president is committed to peace to the core, he is saying we will give another month. We will give another month and a week to show that we are committed to peace and to show that the one that might lead to the collapse of this exercise is the Israeli side, and therefore they should be ready for the consequences of that eventuality. I want to conclude by just telling you one of the main objectives of why we decided that the year 2014 to be the year of solidarity with the Palestinian people. We did not decide on that objective because we want to engage in festivities of something of the nature, as one minister told us, I wish that it would be the year in which we would celebrate the 10th anniversary of the end of occupation and the independence of the state of Palestine. It is not that kind of celebration. It is a year in which we are mobilizing everyone in every corner of the globe. We are inviting everyone who wants to be a partner with us to be a partner of this process. We know that the problem led to the question of Palestine were created by the international community in the first place when Resolution 181 in 47 called for the partition of Palestine and the creation of two states. In this region, significant number of states led to the adoption of that resolution in 1947. And in this region, you played a decisive role during the last few years in recognizing the state of Palestine and voting in favor of the resolution in November 29, 2012, in order to be consistent with your legal convictions that you are truly committed to the two-state solution since 1947. One state came into being in 1948, the other one is struggling for its independence, and you are supporting that process. So we are saying that we want all of you to be partners. This is an international issue. The Palestinian people are in the forefront, struggling, steadfasting, and we have one of our distinguished sons, Ahmad Bernat, who made a fabulous movie about the struggle of segment of our people in a very famous village by the name of Belain. In that village, we struggle every day peacefully with our friends, the internationals and pacifists from Israel. The one that brings the violence every week, as he testifies in his movie, which those of you who haven't seen it will have the opportunity to see it later on, it shows who is struggling peacefully for their land and those who are bringing the violence against the Palestinian people. So we are inviting everyone to be partner with the Palestinian people who are not leaving their land. We are staying in our land. We are struggling peacefully against this forceful military Israeli occupation. With your help and support, all of you in all corners of the globe, maybe we can help this process to reach its objective of ending the occupation and allowing for the independence of the Palestinian state, and therefore to have the two-state solution. But if this process is not going to reach that objective soon, and hopefully soon because we're running out of time for the two-state solution, then it will be our collective responsibility. And we want you to be ready for taking all the steps that we have to take in order to force this occupying power to leave our land, to end the occupation, and to allow for the independence of the Palestinian state. And when I say to be ready, we tried everything reasonable. The Israeli side is not being reasonable. We resorted to all peaceful legal measures, including multilateral struggle in the United Nations. And they are so intransigent, and they are not paying attention to anyone, including to the international law. If that is the course that they are going to continue, I can assure you, the Palestinian people are not going to go away. Our resolve is strong. We are rooted in our land, and we are so proud that we have so many friends in all corners of the globe, in this region, in Quito, in Ecuador, with your collective help, we will cross the bridge if we have to go after every Israeli criminal committed crimes against our people in all possible political, diplomatic, and legal options available to us in order to engage in a different way of struggling with this enemy that has been relentless in denying our rights, trampling on the rights of our people, and taking our land, and trying to say that this Jewish state, from their point of view, is only for the Jews, and we are the Palestinians, are the foreigners in our homeland. We are also the people of that land for thousands of years. We are rooted in that land. We made the historic compromise in 1988 and in 1994. In 88, in accepting to establish our state, not in half of historic Palestine, in accordance with the partition plan, but in only 22% of historic Palestine, the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem. And the other one, we were asked to recognize Israel, we recognized Israel. What Israel wants to call itself, it's their business, it's not our business. If Israel wants to exclude part of its population, and it is only the state of the Jews, and to deny 1.6 million Israeli Arabs that they are not part of that state, that is the business of Israel. But we know that states of today, democracy, humanity, progressivism, say that the state is the state of all of its citizens. It is not a state of only portion of its citizens. But again, we will never accept, we as the Palestinians, to recognize Israel as a Jewish state. We recognize Israel as Israel. What is the nature of Israel is not our business. It is the business of the Palestinian state. I want to thank you again. We need you more than ever. Roll up your sleeves. There will be tough days coming ahead, and we want you to take principled position to help us to accomplish the objective of ending the occupation and saving the two-state solution before it is too late. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.